Hello, I'm Sam. Welcome to the Web3 Unity SDK, Getting Started. Moralis offers the Web3 Unity SDK. Let's break that down. Moralis provides a single workflow for building high-performance dapps. This is fully compatible with your favorite Web3 tools and services. Unity's flexible development platform offers incredible possibilities for real-time solutions, including games. The Web3 Unity SDK brings the power of Moralis to your Unity projects. Let's take a closer look at a few terms here. An SDK is a set of tools, guidelines, and programs to help software development. An API allows you as developers to reach external services. It's not perfect, but here's an analogy. The SDK represents the entire house that could be built, all the rooms, furniture, phone lines, etc. The API represents just the phone lines that allow communication to the outside world. Moralis provides an SDK that includes everything needed to build for Web3 and to connect to the Moralis API. It all begins here with Moralis.Start. Let's take a look at the high-level structure of the SDK. The main entry point is the Moralis object with the Moralis.Start method on it. This prepares and initializes the system and allows access to the subsystems within. The Moralis client allows many popular operations at the client level, including querying database objects. The Web3 client, the Web3 API, and the Solana API offer additional extended functionality. Here we are inside Unity. I've added the Web3 Unity SDK and a custom My Example scene with a similar mana behavior. Let's take a look. Here all we've done so far is call the Moralis.Start. Let's do something interesting. First, let's determine if we're logged in. We'll get the Moralis user and check if it exists already. Let's run this scene and see what happens. Here in the console, we see is logged in is true. This is because we've run the authentication kit covered in the authentication video beforehand. Now, for the sake of this demo, if we're not logged in, we're going to exit out of this code. Some, but not all functionality in Moralis requires authentication, but for simplicity, we're going to check there. Now, to fetch the address, we can use the Moralis user's address property. This address is used for all sorts of different Web3 operations. Next, let's see how we could access the Moralis client. Now, accessing this object directly is more for advanced use. Typically, we're going to interact directly with the Moralis object, and this is going to be handled under the hood for us. An example of a Moralis client operation that we call directly through the Moralis object is interacting with the database. Without setting up any backend ahead of time, we're just using the Moralis.create to create a new custom object called hero and be able to save that to the backend. Then we're able to read one or more of those objects from the backend if they exist and do things with them in-game. Let's take a look at a second object. Through the Web3 API, we can get all sorts of information from the accounts by the address. Here we're able to get the ETH native balance. Let's run the scene and see what happens. Looking at the console, we see that we're logged in. We see the address that's going to be used for further operations. We check that hero count, that custom object that I've run. Now I've got 52 of them because I've run this scene quite a few many times. And then finally, we see the ETH native balance there. It's just that easy. Let's take a look at the next object, the Web3 client. One of the things you can do here is send a transaction from one address to another address. Here's the syntax. Now for advanced users who have a from account and to account prearranged, you can come back and run this type of example. For us, we'll move on. And finally, let's take a look at that fourth object, the Solana API. Here we're able to do Solana-related operations. In this case, I've updated the address before calling this method. We'll get the balance for a Solana account. Let's run the scene and see what happens. Here in the console, we see again that we're logged in, several of the familiar output we've seen before, and finally we end with the Solana native balance. Visit docs.moralis.io to download the Web3 Unity SDK and get started. Thanks!